The first one is a newer piece that I wrote for this event. It's called Numbers. I once had a math teacher that told me the only thing that in this world counts is numbers, statistics that dictate the comfort in which we live. I've never been too fond of them myself, agonizing at the pain of having to put 2 and 2 together with A and B, and then suddenly getting lost somewhere in between. Until one day I began coming across numbers that impacted that comfort and blissfulness in which he had mentioned. 79%. Well, what could that be? Perhaps it's the number of fish that are left in the sea, or the amount of pink ribbons that are sold at breast cancer festivities. Well, I don't know. What do you think? I'll give you a hint. It's followed by the number 21, and I'm not talking about questions, so we should be asking more about how these numbers are still continuing to soar, but here's a little something that should give you a spin. 59% are African American. Now I've got you thinking about what these numbers could be. I'll tell you right now that they all have to do with HIV. In Chicago alone, 2009, roughly 79% of the diagnosed were men, 21% were women, and this was only back then. But let me throw you a number, 1.1. Add 1 million at the end of that, and you have the number of people in the United States living with HIV, 18.1% of which are unaware of their infection, and God, that frightens me. Because we have enough shit to deal with when people are calling this the gay plague, because ignorance still holds a tight enough grip even today. People, we have to be safe. There are too many beautiful faces that I catch crying, thinking that there's no way to live after they receive a status that comes out positive. But I beg you to stop and breathe. Because the world you think is lost is not even close to being over. There's still so much love left to be discovered, but it's now your job to educate the masses, infiltrate their half-assed classes, show them that there's a face to this statistic, and that face comes with a name. Change your status from infected to survivor. Be a community protector. Don't let the world shy away from your hand as if your fingertips will burn. Keep educating until they are forced to learn that we have a responsibility of taking care of our own. Don't split yourselves in two, thinking that somehow sexual awareness isn't good enough for you. We are one great community still waiting for the stereotype to fall. Don't repeat history within our own walls. We have been stronger than that. We have been braver than that. And I'll be damned if I hear another person say that they're scared to kiss someone and contract AIDS that way due to never opening a fucking book. Ignorance is not a pretty look, and it's our job to make sure that these numbers fall. I have one of my own, my number is 2. That's how many uncles I've had diagnosed as the time grew, and one was too late, so I've had to -1. Now you see why not knowing is as deadly as a gun. But it'll only be your finger on the trigger if you choose not to test. So here I am begging you to give your fear a rest and realize you're not alone. Within these walls, you will always have a home. So please take a second look at these numbers with me. A record-breaking over 1 million people attended Chicago's Gay Pride this year. Now, I don't know what you'll see, but that's a whole lot of support to me.
Yeah.
So that was a new one. Sorry, that was a little sketchy. I was getting used to it. But this one is one that I actually read at the last Q Hub. It was requested again for those of you who haven't heard it. I'm queer. Other people would call me bisexual, and that is this poem is written based off of my experience as being a bisexual woman and sometimes being with straight men that don't always understand. So it's called "Is It Okay If I Watch?"
Come on.
I remember the moment you ruined when your tongue felt my neck and you asked if you could sit in and watch my latest lesbian encounter. The throw up in my mouth nearly drowned my insides with disgust as I opened my eyes to see such a cowardly face. Suddenly, your facial hair and chiseled jaw was replaced by the zits and braces of a 12-year-old boy who snuck Playboys and knew nothing of a woman's body and the sacredness that comes with it. Too many times this has happened. The burden of loving with eyes closed, hearts open, and judgment raining down from both sides. So you're bi, they ask, grow that mischievous grin, and suddenly I'm a more interesting person because of it. Well, if interesting means that I'll lay out my breast as you watch some girl discover the creases that you could never find, then I'd rather be a Debbie fucking Downer. But instead, I'm a queer. And like all the great freaks, I live in the sin of never conforming, so suddenly I'm a selfish bitch. A fast-talking harlot, a straight guy's tease, a cry for attention for a good fuck. Please, please, understand. I'm not trying to threaten your pride with my acquired taste, but don't confuse your confusion as an apparent sexual illusion because you don't think one person can love pussy and dick unless it's for your entertainment. This isn't a two-person arrangement where I can compromise my appetite to fit your 37-inch television screen. Honey, you've proven to be quite an ignorance fiend because I can't understand how you think a good dick will cure me of starving for something more than your pathetic attempt at intimacy. Now I can clearly see that obviously you've never truly kissed another woman's lips. You've never unwrapped her body, never absorbed her scent, never felt her skin tremble willingly underneath your fingertips. And because you don't know how to make love to a woman, you'd like me to step in. Make her come so you can shadow what it feels like. First learn that you have no right towards my body, even with sex. I guess that explains why now you're my ex. And don't confuse my notions as your fantasy fulfillment. I'm a practitioner of love, while your only interest is machismo indulgence. Go ahead and get angry, call me a freak. Say that I want it regardless of what you think. The only tease around here is the idea of you becoming a man, and respecting that we queers don't always want a third person to make it a party. Your presence is not requested, there was no invite, your name is not on the guest list, there's not a question in sight of whether or not I need you in my bed to support that a part of me is straight. The same way I don't have to bring home a girl to share and prove to you that the other is gay. Why split me in two? Are you afraid that the best part of you will disappear if you can't have all of me at once? Or is it because your pride can't simply take stinging heartbreak of thinking that I can fall in love with the woman when your eyes aren't looking, so naturally have the alarm at all times? Quite frankly, I don't care whether it's your pride or your boyish sense of what it is to be bi, because I refuse to bear your ignorant scarlet letter. So go ahead and take my words as you please. You might have ruined this moment, but I made sure it was the last. They always say it gets better, and it does get better. Thank you.